for those who are in the room, you will be voting by raising your hand and saying yes or no when you vote. And for those who are online, you will be voting on in chat. And please keep your microphone muted while you are not talking. The next slide, please. You received the agenda when you received the materials for the meeting, and there was the agenda includes several items for our very busy day today. So the first thing we'll do, we'll approve the minutes of our previous meeting, then we'll do the introductions. Continuing members may have noticed a few new faces, so we'll go through the round of introductions. Then we will elect our new leadership for the council. Yes, Renee and I were elected for 2 years, and the 2 years are expiring very soon. Then we'll listen to the staff report from Kelly about everything that has been happening with the elections division. We'll have a break then, and then we'll have a presentation about ShareFile collaboration. And then we'll work in groups to talk about best practices of doing the review job. And then there will be another small group activity. This will be by language groups and language neutral. And I'll talk later about how this will be happening. And at the end of the meeting, I hope we'll still have some time, although we are running a little bit behind. I hope we'll have some time for community time, for open microphone, and whatever you want to bring up, this will be a good time to talk about. Let's move on to the approval of the minutes of our meeting that we had on February 21st. You received a copy of these minutes with the materials for the meeting, and I hope you had a chance to review them. So any changes, any comments, any amendments to the minutes? Anybody? Okay, hearing none, I would ask somebody to give a motion to vote on approval of the minutes.
I'm Peter Jones.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please? At large, second motion to vote on approval. Thank you. Thank you. So now let's vote. So everybody in favor of approving the minutes, please raise your hand and say yes. And those on who are participating online, please vote in chat. So who is voting to approve the minutes?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Anybody who does not want to approve the minutes? No. So the minutes are approved unanimously. Thank you. So now a very exciting part of this meeting. As you know, when the council was established 2 years ago, Molly said about it that in summer 2022, this council was established, and several members were appointed to a 2-year term, and some members were appointed to a 3-year term. So for 12 members this summer, their term expired. According to our charter, people can extend their appointment if they wish to continue with the council. And out of 12 members, 6 members wanted to continue to support the council. So, and I will read you out the names. It's Iman, thank you, Lloyd, Lloyd, and Tatiana. Tatiana, is she on the online or? She's traveling, so she's traveling, so she could not participate. Sue, do we have Sue today? No. Sutapa, and Tao. So 6 people out of 12 liked what they have been doing so much that they decided to continue. I have to decide to continue.
Fleur.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Thank you, Fleur. And also during the 2 years, there was some turnover of members. And now we are welcoming 10 new members to our council. And the names of these new members you see on this slide. And now I will ask all new members to introduce themselves by saying their name, language they represent on the council, place where they live, and also tell us a little bit about what motivated them to become a council member. So, Ela, will you start?
Absolutely. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am Camille Lamotte. I speak Vietnamese primarily, and the reason why I do this job, do this work because it's a really important work, I think, and I don't know, I think it's something that I can do that I can contribute to my Vietnamese community in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Katerina? Oh, me?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Katerina, and I have a challenging mission to represent Russian-speaking community in this difficult time. And yes, Russian-speaking community of Oregon is big, vibrant, diverse, hardworking, well-educated, and the community has its own unique needs. And I think participation and local politics will give them tools and opportunities to fulfill these needs. So during the protest, because historically people with post-Soviet Union background have very strong beliefs they cannot make difference in politics. I'm here to changing. Yes, I want to give people hope, show them they are matter, and make their voices heard.
Thank you, Katerina, and welcome. The next on the list was Lloyd. Do we have Lloyd today?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay. Meng Chen.
Hi, my name is Meng Chen. I speak Chinese, lived in Beaverton. And what motivated me to join the council, as I started to participate in the community, I was told Asians are like invisible in the community because you don't really see them voting, you don't see them, participating in different events. And so I wanted to advocate for more Asians to come out and have a voice. And then I go by she, her. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome. Thank you. The next is Chantal, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Chantal Portillo. I use she, her pronouns, and I am here for Spanish. I live in Salem, and I wanted to join this committee, and maybe some of you know that I've wanted for a while, because I believe in being able to make informed decisions, especially when people are navigating the judicial system, the healthcare system, or contributing to their communities. And this volunteering position embodied being able to do that, supporting people's right to vote, which is something that everyone has had to vote and fight for a very long time. And also that I got to work with Kelly. She was my old boss, and I loved working with her, and I missed her. So this is a dream come true.
Continuing members of the Chantal did a brilliant presentation as we were working on improving our skills. So now we have Chi online. Chi, can you hear us?
Go ahead,
Hi,
Chi.
everyone. Hi. So nice to meet you online. Sorry, I should have been there in person, but I can't. My name is Qi, and I'm speaking Chinese Mandarin, but I can read the traditional and simplified. And the reason pronounce she, her, and them. And the reason I joined the team is because the election is important, and I want people, the immigration, new immigrations, when they say the face is similar to them, then they feel welcomed, they feel included, and also I hope to give back to our community, just like the community helped me. Thank you so much, and I'm new, and I'm looking forward to learn from you guys. Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank
the
you
best
very
I could
much.
do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome to the council, Chief. Paulina, would you like to say a few words and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone, my name is Melissa G, and my pronouns is she, her, hers. I live in Salem and represent the Islamic community, specifically speaking in Russian. I joined the council because I know how difficult it can be to find information in language that you understand. And I like to learn new things, so I want to be a part of this change and hope I can help as much as I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Paulina, and welcome. Now, Sydney.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sydney. I'm to speak here. I'm a vice president for Korean Society Community, and one of the most important rights and our duties is to vote. I want to encourage my community members to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome. Aida.
Hi, everyone. My name's Aida Taracena. I live in Talon, Oregon. And I'm semi-retired. I keep saying I'm still working. I was honored that Kelly called me and invited me to be part of this committee because part of my semi-retirement has been to volunteer a lot. And reaching out to the community that speaks Spanish that, you know, are afraid or can't read to vote is really important. And I'm really, really honored and grateful to be here and to be a part of this. So thank you.
Thank you, and welcome. And Nicole.
My name is Li Hong, and I speak Chinese, but at one point I tried to learn Russian because of my love for Russian literature, and then Spanish because I want to travel in Spanish-speaking countries, but my main language is Chinese. I live in Southeast Portland. I'm a mental health therapist. My journey came from like 4 years ago during COVID when I started to take both voting and elections seriously. And then as civic duty as well, you know, from volunteering in community groups. And then I realized that when I was talking about elections and candidates and information with people, friends in the Chinese community, I realized that a lot of the sources of information was kind of suspicious. So I think that was the starting point when I decided that, well, if as somebody with very minimal language barrier living in this culture, I shouldn't take that for granted. There might be a lot of people out there actually needing support in getting reliable information to make some well-informed decisions in this area. So it all started from here. Very nice to be here, and thank you so much.
Thank you, and welcome to the council. I want to ask Tatiana to introduce herself. She started 6 months ago because we needed an extra pair of hands, and she came in and hit the ground running. So, but this is the first time she's participating in our meetings.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. My name is Tatiana. I use she, her pronouns. I represent the Ukrainian language. I live in Portland, and motivation for joining the council was to amplify the Ukrainian voices and make election materials available in the Ukrainian language.
Thank you, Tatiana, and thank you for already doing so much for the council. And I need to introduce one more participant of our meeting. Patty Vasquez from Multnomah County. Patty, I think you were at our previous in-person meeting.
Yes, I was, the last, in-person meeting, and Patty Vasquez Pacheco, she her area pronouns, and I work for Multnomah County elections. And well, thank you so much, thank you for giving me, and that is very important, the work is very doing here, I appreciate it very much that, the access to language, it's, very meaningful for minorities especially, and I'm just here to welcome you all of us.
Thank you for joining us today. And now, so that the new members know continuing members, I will ask continuing members to introduce themselves briefly, just name, the council language, and where you live. I can start as well. I'm Tamara Bukovska. I represent the Russian language on the council, and I live in Woodborough. Katarina, will you go next?
Hola, buenos días. I'm Carolina Frank. I come from Bend, Oregon, and Spanish is my language.
Okay, please.
Yeah, I'm Steve Vietnamese. I live in Portland, Oregon.
Thank you. And Louis?
Louis Foerla. I represent German, and I live in Southeast Portland.
Thank you. David?
My name is David Jones. I am representing Tagalog with Filipino language, and I live here in Salem.
Thank you. And Kumar?
Hi, everyone. My name is Imana Paz. I represent the Arabic community, and I live in Hillsborough.
Thank you. And Flo?
My name is Flora. I'm from French, and I live in Bend.
And traveled all the way this morning from Bend to Salem. Thank you. So thank you all. And so this is just a way for us to get to know each other. There will be many more opportunities today and in the future to work together. And I hope you will find this work together very productive. And now we are moving to a very exciting, at least for me, part. Can you go to the next slide, please? It's electing a new council chair and vice chair. 2 years ago, well, almost 2 years ago, it was in September, Renee and I were elected to the chair and the vice chair for this council. And these were 2 very exciting years, of course, so working with all of you, getting this council off the ground. So we all contributed to building this council from ground zero up to where we are now. And you heard the words of recognition from Molly. So we are the trailblazers, and we're doing a great job, not just for this state, but also setting an example for other states, so for the country. And our work would not have been as successful as it is if it were not for tremendous support from Kelly, and then from Marcia, and now from Melissa. So they have been enormously supportive for not just for the entire council, and specifically for the positions of chair and vice chair. So just looking back at what we've done together, we've reviewed thousands upon thousands of pages of translations, and to make sure that the translations are not just accurate, but also culturally appropriate. We translated so many web pages. We developed the charter, which is now guiding our activities. So this was an important accomplishment. So we've contributed to the development of 13 glossaries and the style guide. And well-deserved applause to the council and all the accomplishments that we've done. I've been just incredibly proud to work with all and each of you, and I'm really proud of our accomplishments in these 2 years. But now it's time to pass the baton. So we were elected for 2 years, and so it's time for somebody else to pick up from here and move the council forward. So at the top of this slide, you can see the responsibilities of the chair to prepare agenda with staff, preside over meetings, appoint workbooks, and other duties. For vice chair, it's supporting the chair and also performing the responsibilities of the chair in the chair's absence. Any questions for me? So to move on, people can either self-nominate or they can nominate somebody else for either position. And if you self-nominate, then please be prepared to say what motivated you to apply for this position. And if you are nominated by somebody else, please also say towards how you see yourself in this position. So, anybody wants to throw the cat in the ring? Position of the chair is up for grabs.
Magda just put in the chat that she can read her statement if you want her to.
She can. So, Magda, so you are interested in the position of the chair or vice chair?
For the chair.
For the chair position. Okay, we have one self-nomination. Any more? I'll give a few seconds for you to think if you want to throw your hat into the ring.
I don't think I heard an introduction from her, so.
She's a continuing member. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is my fault. I forgot to. Okay, but this was a way for Magda to introduce herself as well. My apologies. And she, she introduced herself. Yes, my apologies. My apologies. It's so good that you're self-nominating because this gives you an opportunity not just to introduce yourself, but also say a few words about what you want to accomplish in this position.
Magda, go ahead.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Magda. I speak Spanish too, and I live in Portland, Oregon. I'm sorry I cannot be there today. I've had some health issues, but it's great to see everyone and get to meet the new members. I prepared a little statement, so I'm just going to read it. This morning, I would like to nominate myself as a candidate for the council chair. I have been a member of the council for the last 2 years, and I've had the pleasure of meeting many of you during this time, and I have enjoyed working together on several projects that have been foundational for our work. We worked together on the Oregon's first election glossary, and I led the council bylaws group. More recently, I helped test the new Secretary of State file sharing capabilities, and I provided input on ways to make our work and review process more collaborative. I've sought every opportunity to support the work that brings us together, which is making Oregon's elections accessible and meaningful to the Oregonians who speak non-English languages. I have a lot of appreciation and respect for the leadership that Tamara and Renee have shown us in the past 2 years, and it would be my honor to continue the work that they are doing and to continue supporting the council to advance its mission. So I want to ask you to please consider voting for me as a chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Magda. Yeah, Magda was really very active in the work of the council. On top of review responsibilities, she was member, as she said, she was member of one of the groups that worked on the charter and contributed to many other activities of the council. So, any other people who want to, who are interested in being the chair for the next few years? Okay, then, well, let's vote on the chair position. So, can I have a motion, please? To vote?
Motion to vote.
Thank you.
Your name, please.
Chantal Portillo, motion to vote.
Thank you, Chantal. And can I have a second? Thank Thank you.
And your name, please,
Maria Thompson.
for the record. Thank
Yeah,
you.
please pronounce your name so that for the purposes of recording, it's very clear who is making motions or comments. Okay, now let's vote. And everybody in favor of selecting Magda as the next chair of the council, please raise your hand and say yes.
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 And anybody against? No. Magda, congratulations. You are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did we record the votes on the chat? Just make sure.
Chi, did you vote as well? Okay. And Magda. Okay, great. We recorded.
Thank you. Now let's do the same for the vice chair position. So anybody interested in being the vice chair for the next 2 years? That's a great experience, and you have light on your resume. After all. Looking for another volunteer to the responsibility, set of responsibilities. And I should say that it was much easier to do the job of the chair and vice chair because there was so much support from secretary's office staff. Kelly and Marcia and Melissa, they are so incredibly helpful. So it won't be that you will be left on your own.
Okay, this is Carolina Frank, and I'll consider it, but I don't want to be a majority of Colombians dominating. If no one else would like to complete her service, then I'm happy to help Magda with her leadership.
Anybody else? It's okay, there's competition. Okay, then let's vote on Catalina as vice chair for the council. Can I have a motion, please?
For Frank, I motion to vote Catalina for vice chair.
Thank you. And can I have a second?
Imana Paz, I second the motion.
Thank you. So just as before, everybody in favor of electing Catalina as vice chair, please raise your hand and say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, everybody in favor of Catalina.
We got the chat votes
Do we have
recorded.
Votes online?
Yes, they're recorded.
Okay, thank you very much, and you have wonderful leadership for the next 2 years. I can just and I wish them best of luck in their work, and I'm sure they will do absolutely fantastic. Thank you. But you're stuck with me for this meeting. So let's move on to the next agenda item, which is Secretary of State staff report.
Yes, that's me.
A lot has happened since we met last. The last meeting was in February. So, and there was legislative session. So now Kelly will update us on everything that has been happening since February and more. Please, Kelly.
Thanks, Tamara. Well, I'm so pleased to be here. I can't believe it's been 2 years. And when I see how far we've come from making the application and a web page to get some members to get this thing going, it's really incredible. And just thank you so much. I forget, sometimes what we're doing, and just hearing you talk about why you're interested in joining the council and why you continued gives me goosebumps. So thank you so much. It is a very important job, and Molly is right. There isn't anywhere else that is doing this kind of work. It's difficult because of election timelines. As you know, we really are under the gun 4 times a year, and it's not easy, but we're doing it, and it's a great model for other places to make sure that even though the translations are done by professionals, that they work for Oregon. So thank you so much, and thank you for our new chair and vice chair. I'm really looking forward to working with you. I promise we'll be kind and gentle. And this is the Secretary of State staff report. Molly did mention, and Tamara, Marcia worked with us for almost 2 years, and she has promoted within the division, and she works on voters pamphlets and ballot initiatives and referrals now. So we really appreciate her help. And Melissa joined officially. She came over on a rotation for several months and has just become official. You want to say hi again?
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be here. I'm really excited to be a part of this dynamic group and meet you all in person. I've heard so much about all of you. Feel free to introduce yourself during lunch, and I look forward to meeting you all.
Yes, it's great. And she brings great experience. She came from the executive office, so she knows how to handle the big guns from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Just a couple of housekeeping things. Thank you. The temperature control here is out of our control. So you might have to put on a sweater if you need, but we aren't able to control that today. And the restrooms are just outside the door. You're welcome to use those at any time. We will have lunch. We're going to have a lot of opportunities to talk and meet each other. So just enjoy yourself, and thank you. So Senate Bill 1533. 1538. So as you know, in the legislative session in 2023, there was a bill to introduce a new formula for the inclusion of languages for translation, and it did not pass. That was the year the legislature, many members walked off the job for a while and then came back, and so a lot of things were tabled. This is a photo of Senator Casey Jama. He represents an area near Clackamas, Oregon City, Gladstone area of the state senator, and Catherine McMullen, clerk in Clackamas County for their elections office. And they joined us on back in February, I think. I'm mixing up the years. But the bill was introduced again this last January and introduced by Senator Jama, and they gave testimony on that bill on that day, and the bill passed in March. So we are adding 6 new languages. 6 new languages, and some of our new members already are representing those languages. Some of our Chinese speaking members do traditional Chinese as well as simplified Chinese characters, and we are adding traditional Chinese to our list. Another language we're adding is Mien or Yu Mien. I need to do more research, but it's a language from the Southeast Asian highlands, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, and the highlands there. They speak that language, and their population is primarily in the Multnomah area. IJK. Khmer is Cambodian language. That is found primarily in Washington County. And the Nepali or Nepalese, I need to do more research, is also found in Multnomah County. We will add that language. And Somali is a language from the Multnomah County area that is also being added. Senator Jama is from Somalia, and so he's very pleased with that passage. What it means for us is more than 6 extra pamphlets. It really means sometimes up to 22 more pamphlets in a primary or general election, because we provide, the formula says we will provide translations for the state languages, which will now be 19 from 13, so it's 13 plus 6. And also we provide the translations for county languages. So Somali will include a pamphlet for the state and a pamphlet for Multnomah. And Khmer will include a pamphlet for Washington County and the state and so on. I feel like I might be missing a language. Did I do 6? Traditional Chinese, Mien, Khmer, Somali, Nepali. Okay, I did it.
That's fine. That's fine.
Did I do 5?
Yeah.
I have to do the alphabet.
Cambodian, Nepalese, Ukraine. You have to see.
Oh, I got 6? Okay, good. I'm trying to get it. Yeah, we're not quite ready for the slide. Oh, sorry. So anyway, that passed. We are recruiting now for those members. I could use one more traditional Chinese. And then if you know members of that community, please help us spread the word. We will be accepting applications on a rolling basis. And this is implemented in 2025. So based on your experience, or if you're new, the first election in the year is in March. And in the last 2 years, we've had 1 or 2 counties hold an election at that time. And then May of the odd year, 2025, is special district elections. And all of the 13 counties that participate in providing voters pamphlets are included. So that will be a big one, May of 25. So that's how it's going to get rolling. Okay. Yeah. Also, I just wanted to recognize again, we have 2 members here who are employees of county offices, Patty and Ellen. They are bilingual staff, and Ellen joined us as kind of an ad hoc member last year, helped out a lot, helps us with the Multnomah translations. And Patty has been joining us as well. She happens to live in Washington State. Do you still?
Yes.
Yeah, so she couldn't join the council technically, but we have really benefited from her participation and basically consulting with us. Both of them as subject matter experts, they've taught me a lot about elections, so thank you. Ellen is a full-fledged member now. Also, we have Chi online, and she works for Clackamas County as a Chinese bilingual staff. So thank you, Chi, and thank you, Catherine, and the clerk of Multnomah County, Tim Scott. Okay, next, stipends. Oh, it's been a busy year for stipends. Unfortunately, the bill that first passed, House Bill 3021, referenced another statute that said members will receive stipends in appreciation for your time and effort. It's not a paid position. It's, it's given from the heart, basically. So our Secretary of State provided a stipend policy and developed something where we can provide an annual stipend. It's $200, thank you, January stipend. And then also attendance at meetings is equal to the per diem employees get for attending meetings, their per diem. So it's $166 now. So that went up a little bit. The bad news is the Department of Justice and the Department of Administrative Services did an audit of the policy and the state's interpretation of the other statute. And it specifically excludes members who are state or local government employees. So basically people who are already benefiting from being an employee of the state. So that's really disappointing to us. And it did affect several of our members. I think about 6 members are in that situation. And I really want you to know it has nothing to do with our appreciation or what we gain from the benefits of having you as consultants on our council. But we certainly understand, how that goes. So the good news is Molly was here, and we are right now preparing a technical fix to the bill. Hopefully that will pass in the legislative session that begins again in January. So we're trying to make this Translation Advisory Council unique in the entire state. So that will be coming through. And again, there may be an opportunity for testimony and following that bill. We'll let you know. Okay. Next thing is swag. Now I can change picture. I love this picture. You've got on your table, you've got little notepads and pens. You're welcome to take as many as you like. I have more in the back. Last year, we had the community outreach group. They created a TAC toolkit and prepare translations of vote, the imperative form of vote, in 12 languages. We're still working on the 13th, Arabic, and made pens and stickers. And we've been providing these to groups that contact us. They're working at county fairs, the League of Women Voters, Democratic Party. People who are formerly incarcerated have events and find out about voting, Hispanic groups and Pacific Islander groups. So it's really wonderful. We're giving them away for free. And you are certainly welcome to put in an order if you're going to be at some events or community fair and so on. So here we have Elam and Stephanie, another bilingual staff at Clackamas County at the Vietnamese Lunar Celebration. Is that right? Yeah, look at them. Thank you. They have all of our stuff. And it's just, that's the kind of place that you can share these kinds of things. So that kind of a project takes more coordination and details than you would think just to get that word vote. And also it's back to the Chinese group because there's a conversation around that, how to translate it. But anyway, I'm going to be putting some more things out up here. And at the end of the day, please take some, share them with your friends. And there should be all the different languages except Arabic today. So proud of you. Okay. And I think that is my report.
Thank you, Kelly. So now let's take a break. So time to move on to the next agenda item, which was prompted by you, by council members. So when we were reviewing different materials, and some people were saying that it would be good to have a shared platform which would allow collaboration during the reviews. So we were saying that, and the elections division heard that. So they started exploring different options. And the one option that it came up with is a share file platform. So now, Kelly, would you like to add something to the concept? And then I will ask Melissa to talk about this project that she has already tested.
Yes, so thank you for your patience. After our first reviews in summer of 2022, one of the ideas was it would be great to be able to work with other language partners if they exist on our council. So yeah, so it took a while, but our IT department has come up with maybe a stopgap, and so we're just going to share it with you today. Melissa did some testing, and we'd like your feedback about if you think you would use it, when you might use it, if it would be a useful tool for you before we go. So.
Okay, and now Melissa will walk us through this potential collaboration platform.
Hi, everybody. So many of you have worked within ShareFile. If you haven't quite yet, you will soon. So it's where we download our documents and then we upload our documents. The idea behind the ShareFile tool is that you would have the opportunity to log in. So there would be accounts for collaboration access within the Word documents. How many of you have Microsoft 365 at work? Okay, so a lot of you. And if you don't, I'm happy to give an overview of it. I love introducing tech and all that kind of stuff. So I'm happy to go over it with you. But it's basically the Word version of 365 merged with ShareFile. So you interact with the Word documents.
Oh, that's me, sorry.
Collaboratively within the documents. And so the idea is that everybody would if you have an account, then you would all have access to the same documents, similarly as you do at work, kind of thing. But within ShareFile, you don't have that kind of access because you don't have an account. We navigate that separately on your behalf, and so you just download and upload files. This is not a requirement by any means. We are proposing this to you all as an option to get your feedback and your thoughts. We've also had the opportunity, as Tamara mentioned, to test this with 2 volunteers that were gracious enough, Magda and Catalina. So thank you very much for your time on this, to get their input on what this might be useful for. So any questions around that overview? Cool. So I'm going to give a quick demonstration real quick as I log in.
During that, what do you guys think of ShareFile? Thumbs up, thumbs down for receiving and sending documents?
What we use currently?
What you currently use. So Melissa sends you a link, you open your documents, work on them on your own, and then you get a link to send it back. It's okay? Okay, because I'm tech phobic and it's good to hear what you have done. But early on, yeah, we talked with our IT department and they said we needed a secure file to exchange and send files. So that's what we're using. Yes.
Sometimes I receive a file, but assigned for other member.
Oh, a file from someone else, for someone else? Yeah, just let us know because the other member might be looking for it. Yeah, so when we get files back from the vendor, we can get hundreds of files and we have to download them and then we put them in a folder and then we put them in another folder. So yeah, sometimes there's a little blip. That's a good reason for just looking early, even if you're not going to work on it right away. Make sure you have the right files because if you do it on Sunday night and it's due Monday morning, we won't be in the office to help you. Yeah, so thanks, Trent. Just let us know. Yeah, or sometimes you'll get 2 English files instead of the translated one. We're trying to get a grip on that.
Yeah. So on the shared file, I noticed the last one I have 2 urban files. So which one I need to work? So I checked the size of the last update and then work on this one.
Do I have your permission to use one of your reviews from August as a tester?
Okay. Let me check on that. When would be, I think you got the Secretary of State letter and Sahar got the pamphlet.
Yeah, I got the letter, yes.
Okay, yeah.
But I get 2 of the letter, 2 versions of the letter.
Okay, let me double check that on Monday. I got 2 things for you. And yeah, we are working on reviews. Let's see, right now, state pamphlet and those reviews, if you got some this week, are due back next Friday. And then this coming Tuesday, we're getting the county pamphlets back and those will be due the following Monday. So each of those you get about a week. And we try to fit in a weekend whenever we can.
Oh, no? Okay, great. So ShareFile wouldn't let me in. That's always fun. So I'm just showing you in a Word document so that everybody's on the same page as to interacting with Microsoft 365. And as Catalina is nodding her head, it's basically the same thing. So what would happen is that you would go into, you would access the ShareFile platform. There would be an editing button. You click the editing button and then it'd open up a tab and it would show you a Word document in web browser form. You can open that web browser form into your Word document. So pretend that this is in ShareFile. You would be able to go in here You'd be able to mark it up like you usually do and highlight it and make edits and stuff like that. And then one of the features that we're looking into is if multiple people are in one folder together and they all have accounts, can they do comments? Can they tag each other? Can they, and what is that kind of collaborative access? That's something we're looking into. So that's basically the tool. So having that collaborative feature online through the cloud is something that we're proposing to you all. Any questions on this or Microsoft document itself?
Did you say?
Yes.
Go ahead. Do you want to? Oh yeah, sorry. Did you say we can tag other people for comments?
That's something we're looking into. Yeah.
So you said like comments, like let's say if the translation, let's say example in Arabic, I have comments on it, so I would collaborate with my other team member in the language, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the last thing will be under the comments that what we agreed on, or
so that's something that would be like phase 2 of making this happen is, we would decide what is this tool effective for? Or even if it's within your own language group, hey, we want to do this, or no, we want to do this. This is an option as it is right now. And it's being proposed to you as a demonstration to introduce it to you all. Logistically, how that would work in terms of timing, people's schedules, that's the question mark that was on the screen next to the lovely Joy from Pixar. Does this bring us joy? We don't know yet. So we're figuring that out. But in terms of the features, that's the introduction of here's what it can do. Do we like it? What would we use it for? Does that help?
Yes.
Cool. Any other questions?
So you said that Catalina and Magda tested.
Yes, and I'll get into that. I just wanted to give everybody opportunity to get introduced to the tool itself. Any questions on the tool itself? Yes.
Well, so I know that Microsoft and Apple are not friends.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't know if I would have access to that or not.
Okay.
I actually tested on my Mac, and I work on Microsoft Word on my Mac all the time.
Okay. So because it is Microsoft 365, which is now an online browser tool, it's like working in the cloud.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Maybe Chi has a question. Chi does not have a question. Okay. So yeah. So let's see here. So that's the tool itself, and then we'll go back into our presentation, our regular schedule programming. So everybody on that. And as Tamara mentioned, we did do testing with Catalina and Magda. And on the right side, you'll see some of the feedback we got from them in terms of accessing it, working with it, and from their perspective, the feedback of like, what does collaboration mean with a tool like this, right? So the access, as I talked about, those who want to use it, we would give you accounts, usernames and passwords, and the SOS team would need to create those accounts for those who want it. The interface in terms of usability, very similar to using Microsoft Word 360 platform, as I just demonstrated. The feedback was it's easy to use, easy to navigate, great tool. And then the practicability, I use creative word, but you know what I mean, is, the feedback was it might be difficult with deadlines and reviews in terms of people's timelines, how people work, how people communicate. Commenting back and forth might create more work for people than less work, especially with deadlines. So, you know, if certain people have certain agreements that really work for them, that could be a possibility, but requiring it of everybody, especially during reviews, wasn't something that was highly favorable. So in terms of practicality standpoints, group projects was something that really stood out as something that could be useful for collaboration. So say glossaries or any other kind of project that groups want to work on, where they can go back and forth in one document. And then if you do edit together, everyone would need to be on the same standpoint of how the editing would go about, right? So create agreements and how to make sure that people's edits and things don't get deleted unnecessarily, and etc. And then it also is practical for situations where everyone needs to be in the same document. Say for a meeting, an overview or feedback, everybody can go into the same document at once and edit together. Depending on capability, we would have to test that as well. But that was the feedback that we got from our wonderful testers. Any questions? Yeah.
So now it's been like, let's say there will be a folder by language, and it will be accessible by the team of this language. Then they will decide within their own, like, okay, let's meet, example, Monday at 4 o'clock to access this folder, review it together, finish it together, then upload it. So it will be one upload file, right?
I mean, if that's what your language group wants, that would be something that y'all could decide on. That would be up to y'all. And we can help facilitate those agreements. But at this point, it's, do we like this tool? Do we even want to create accounts at this point in discussion? And Tamara has actually agreed to facilitate that discussion in terms of what are people's thoughts and feedback in terms of this. But in terms of additional information that you want on the tool, is there any additional information that you want before we have discussion? Yeah.
You talked about what is it like for the newcomers, because we didn't really know how you worked before.
Yeah.
Can I say something? So you might be wondering other projects. So our charge is to review voters' pamphlets, but we have had the glossary project, which we took on as a tool for our group. That would be another kind of project. We also worked on the voter registration cards translations. They're being redesigned right now. But that would be like another example. Normally you're working on reviews on very short schedules. And like I said, I see people working on them on Sunday at 2 a.m. and then other people, they download their file the first day. So just so you know, before, we've never worked together with other language groups on the voters pamphlet reviews. We have worked together on glossaries. We could work together in a more collaborative way on things like voter registration cards.
And the other application, we had a meeting with the Spanish speaking group where we were hanging out on some terms that apparently would come to Kelly with different suggestions on the same terms. So we had one time where we were working on different ones at the same time, and that would have been helpful to be able to brainstorm together on one document to then agree, so that she doesn't have to retype everything for us. That was what happened.
Yes. Yeah. And and then it says you have to be in there at the same time, right? Is that what that said? Everyone needs to be in the same document at the same time?
No, it could be useful.
Oh, okay.
So the practicability is more of like, what best case scenarios could this be used for? So say everyone needs to be in the same document to provide edits. That would be really great use for it.
I'm just trying to get, is this kind of similar to like in Word, sometimes if you share files, you can look at review where you accept changes and now you're like,
it has that feature too.
A little bubble on the side that says, Florida changed this. You know, is it similar to that? Because I've done stuff like that for articles where we and two people maybe we co-writing it. And like, I'll write things and then I'll just email it back to the person, that person can see what I, on the little bubble, what I changed.
That is a great question in terms of what share file saves.
Okay.
And so that would be this in the same component of comments, you know, the comments feature. So does it save the reviews, like editing? My guess is yes, because that's a pretty standard Microsoft feature. And so yes, that could be something that it could be used for as well. The idea is that since you all are across the state, you all aren't part of the same server or the same network, right? ShareFile would give you that capability to all be a part of the same network. And so that's the idea behind it.
Any more questions for Melissa or Kelly?
I have one more technical comment. In case you're wondering why we're just not using Google Docs, we're not able to do that based on our security features at the Secretary of State's office. So that's something that sometimes people ask.
Okay. So what, is it a question or is it a discussion?
It's more just a discussion.
Okay, so yeah, let's do that. Let's talk how useful this platform can be for all of us. What are pros, what are cons, if it's practical, if it's not very practical, days, so it's okay.
Yeah. Do you see any practical application of the share file stuff for those language groups that only have one member, like mine?
No. Yeah, there's a few you can just tune out now. Sorry. But
for larger groups. But.
Yeah. So Tagalog is growing. I'm thinking about recruiting for another one because it's going to be bigger in 2025. Several counties are adding it.
Any other thoughts? Would you be interested in participating?
I think this tool would be really great because sometimes, you know, like you're stuck on like the right translation of a word. Then when you discuss it with the other team member of the same language, then you will have kind of like agree, yes, it makes sense, it's more readable, more understandable. Then we can both, you know, collaborate and have it. The only challenge sometimes is the time that we need both to be on the same day, on the same time. This is the only, I feel like, challenge that we're facing, but it's manageable. So we can collaborate together to make sure that the time works for both of us, let's say, to have work on the same file, same date, same time.
To follow up on what Iman just said, is it an option for example, there are 3 people in the language group and each of them go in and make the changes at the time convenient for them, and then they have to reconvene as a group?
I was going to ask that too. I was going to ask that too. Would it be possible to see my colleagues' changes on a document when they're not logged in?
Yeah, I think that's. Is that true, Melissa? That was my question too.
I mean, that's where we would have to change the setup because right now everybody has their own individual folder. And so how you want to, one, navigate, especially when it comes to reviews. Do you want to go in there, access it yourself, and then, you know, edit, etc. How we would logistically put those documents into the shared folders for review and timing, I think would be the question, because right now I send it in an individual capacity, if that makes sense.
So what I'm hearing is it's more useful if it could be accessed at any time. You could see any colleagues' comments or notes. That would be useful. Okay.
Like Google Docs.
Yes.
Or even Microsoft does that, like the share.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's a good question.
That is a good question.
And you didn't test that feature, right?
No.
No. Okay. I have one more question, and I'm not sure if it's a concern for everybody. For example, 2 people went in and made changes that are different from each other. So who is making the final decision and when as to which variant will stay?
That's a good question. Right now, I don't, in the early days, I would put several people on the same document and it created chaos. So I started signing people to different sections and then we had the glossary, but this would introduce that effect again.
That was a question that came up because that's when the question was, will this replace what we currently do? And then maybe not. Maybe it's just that tool for accessibility so we can work collaboratively in languages and then come back and turn in our own review separately the same way that we do.
Okay. I'm writing that question down.
Yes. So I can speak from an experience that we are doing now with the Washington County. So what we have in the shared drive or shared file tools, we have a folder with the like to be reviewed and completed. So 2 folders within the Arabic folder. Then the reviewed, me and my other team member, we are meeting on the same day, same time, reviewing the file, finishing the file, everything, we agree, everything. Then we move this file to the completed file. So this is the completed file, and that the completed folder will be uploaded as a final. Because, like, yes, sometimes you need to see which date, when is completed. So to be kind of confused which one is what. The only thing, as I explained before, like the challenge was just to be sure like we are working on the file in the same date and time so that we can agree. Or for smaller project, like let's say example, I will review it, then I will let my team member, well, I reviewed it, can you have a second one? And if you need to comment on something that I suggested, let's talk about it, then we will have the final completed, then move it to the completed folder under the Arabic folder, which is the bigger folder. This is how we are doing it right now.
Is this method of teaming particular to the language you're doing? No, or does everybody work like that?
Would be particular to your language, which is David's question. He would never be on there because he's alone.
So any more thoughts?
Oh, I'm sorry. So my question was, is everybody checking in with their team members of the same language before they turn in their reviews?
That's the question. Yeah. So that would be a practical question. I got that. The finalization, how does that work? Okay.
If I understood correctly, not like we're going to take French, 2 people, not both people have the same things, right? Currently?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Typically, no, because there isn't enough time and it creates chaos.
Kind of like when your screen goes out of control. Like.
That is kind of like the first concern I have is how is that going to affect my efficiency?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
I really like it, like what you said, when there's different options within a group and different terms, and you want to reach a consensus because there's a series of terms that we are all translated differently, or that I find it very useful.
Yeah. When happened maybe twice, I mean, that doesn't happen every year.
Yeah.
Twice in the like 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. The meetings we called. It had to be in the classroom mostly.
I had one more question. So currently, Kelly, your approach is divide and conquer.
Yes.
Which reduces the workload. With share file, everybody who is participating will have to review all the documents that are uploaded for the language group, correct?
No.
No?
That would be decided. That would be decided. So like, we've come to the point we're at now from trial and error, like what works best, what keeps it efficient, what makes it reasonable workload. So that would be one of the decisions. It could be, yes, you want to see everybody else's work every time, or you're more comfortable not. So So I hear that as a concern that I wrote down.
Any more thoughts?
I do have some other thoughts, because there are, I think I look at the glossary and, you know, as the current version, and let's say we're talking to somebody else who speaks the same language, and we decide this would also be an appropriate term depending on the context, and we go back and modify the glossary.
So when we work on the glossary on a kind of a schedule, today I'm going to be handing out some questions for different languages on the glossary that have come in over the year. And that would be the time. So like if we adopted this kind of tool, it would be, okay, you're working today, you've got 50 minutes, but you still want to talk about, you want to do your own research. So you could continue to do that. Hey, Chinese group, please get back together and make a decision on these questions by the state. And that would be an opportunity to use the tool instead of, you know, sending emails around. And in terms of the glossary for new people too, we're open to suggested changes anytime. And in some of the languages, we did run into issues of time where people maybe didn't get through every single term, and it can change and grow. So that is definitely an opportunity.
We have a few more minutes to discuss this item. If we want to participate in this platform, if it can be on case-by-case basis, if we want to make a commitment, but then think better of it. So how much flexibility do we have, Kelly?
Yeah, I think what we have right now from your questions is a good set of things to explore a little further, test a little bit more, and come up with some kind of protocol to present to you. In terms of timing, we were very sensitive to, our first idea was to show you how to use it and set you free, but today, but we realized that it's very much, with our cycle, we didn't want to add something in the middle of reviews for the general election. So our thought is that this would be implemented sometimes in 2025, I'm not sure when, and we can take these questions and do some more research. And if anyone else knows of a tool that maybe our IT department would consider, we can also, you know, like use this time to move forward.
And if anybody would like to be a tester for account access, please email me.
And I think there might be some chat there.
Yeah, I asked if she had a question. She doesn't right now, so we're good. Just wanted to include virtual attendees.
So thank you, and thank you for all the new members since you haven't mentioned it yet. I know you don't have a lot to offer, but some of you come from backgrounds where you've had to share files for articles and translations.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And you see, your feedback does work. So you said something, the elections department heard it, and they took some actions. So do not hesitate to provide your feedback. We really feel that you have some ideas.
Thank you. Yeah, and we have our marching orders. Okay, we'll keep working on that.
Thank you. So moving on to the next agenda item, best practices in doing the review. So this will be a small group activity. So wherever you are at the table, you can stay with these small groups. Catalina, if you want to join the group, you are more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, so we're going to move into some group work. And we do need to make sure we have new people at each table, at least one new person. And like at the back table, I'd like a couple more veterans to move back there.
Okay, so not by language?
Not by language. This is language. Yeah. You want to go to the back table, Catalina?
What table would she be at?
Who?
Chief.
Chief? Mm-hmm. She would be a new member, so any of the tables. So here we have 2 new members. We have 2-ish new members, and we have 2 new members and 2 veterans, and here we have tomorrow 4. Okay, that's good. So we're calling this best practices, tips, and tricks. Basically, this is an opportunity for new people to learn from our veterans about how you do this. How do you get organized? How do you stay on track? Oh my gosh. How do you avoid overwhelm and all the emails we get? Yeah. Melissa, you want to have some? So you have some discussion points here, each group. And it's just going to guide your discussion. Okay, so just to make sure really quickly, all new members, can you raise your hand? On a visual. Good. And veterans. Okay, so we have about 30 minutes for you just to talk and discuss. And these are just guideline discussion questions. You don't have to go through them and write the answers. There's no test. But you might want to jot down some notes about what you're talking about, what you're learning. Because we will have some time at the end where we'll have each table share their good ideas. Okay? So you want to think about that. The first topic is getting organized, and there's some questions. So, like, what is your ideal work environment? You know, is it a weekend? You send the kids away and the husband away? Is it you have a quiet place? You do it at a coffee shop? 5 in the morning. You do it at 5 in the morning. You know when your energy is. Like, we'd like to hear from the veterans. How do you get yourself on track? And how do you stay on track? The next one is technology. Maybe new members have questions about ShareFile. We keep talking about ShareFile. So it's your chance to talk to other members, veterans who have been through it. And other things that you've noticed, like Catalina mentioned, she works on a Mac. Is there something different about that? You know, what can she share? And then just generally, veterans, what do you wish someone had told you when you signed up for this? Besides the work part. What is your advice you would share with the new members? Okay, so think about that. And then I've got, 10 or 11 examples. You don't have to get through them all. These are just examples of how our reviews come in. So some people like to highlight. Some people like to underline. Some people like to rewrite something. Some people give a word. And I'd just like you to kind of walk through those, take a look, and just, none of them are wrong, except maybe one. All right, maybe 2. But think about it from the perspective of, because doing reviews takes a lot of time, think about it from the perspective of how does that impact you, the reviewer? Like, it's easier, faster to do it this way, or you want to be really clear, you don't want any misunderstanding. What about for the translation team? So they get back these review forms, and if they can't understand it, or it's it sounds pushy, they get kind of a visceral reaction. And then the third is, I'm an English-speaking project manager. I don't read Ukrainian. I don't understand Ukrainian culture. So how can you help me understand whether it's something to fight for? Because basically, I don't have time to, advocate for every change. I send them forward, and some of them get sent back, and they'll say, no, this isn't going to work because. So I like to look at it and decide what I need to fight for you, for your community. So think about me, and then also think about the project managers at Barbier International, our professional team. They, by and large, are Spanish and English speakers by first languages. So again, they don't understand French, and they're going to go through the same process with their sub-teams, their French team, their Russian team, and so on. So what does it look like when they receive these kind of reviews? Does that make sense? Okay. And again, there's only just a couple of things that I wish you wouldn't do. Maybe at the end you can tell us which ones they are. Okay? But if you have at least, let's see, we're doing lunch at 12:15?
Yeah, till 12:15.
Okay. And so about 20 minutes right now for group? We're gonna keep track here of ideas. Melissa, can you help me write ideas? All right, so why don't we start with this talkative group? What kind of things did you learn that you'd like everyone to know might be good tips for organizing yourself? Anything that you talked about? And you don't have to. The topics are organization, technology, advice, and what's that one? Reviews.
Daily check email.
Check your email. I like that one. That's our favorite. I like that one a lot. Because if we didn't get it.
And share contact information within your language group so that you can reach out to each other.
Okay. And you did sign today a little waiver that we can share your information.
Yes.
You signed that, yes. Good. Anything else? Organization. Okay, we'll come around. This group?
Calendar.
Calendar
and reminders.
So what do you do with the calendar?
You put it on your electric calendar, so you could move things around.
Yeah, okay, so you make appointments for yourself, right?
Yeah.
I like a master calendar so I can see my other obligations.
Okay. So you apply it to your other work calendar. You enter those dates.
Well, anybody who does freelance or has a part-time job does have potential conflicts.
Yeah. Right, so you get that calendar with the whole cycle.
Yeah.
Okay, because it comes to you in general information, ballot measure information, in a couple of different cycles. Good. Reminders, who said that? So what do you do with the reminders? And what are they? If you've never gotten
On the phone, set them, like, there's deadline is one day before.
Okay.
Like 2 days before.
You add your deadlines. Oh, so you kind of pace yourself. You've got 2 days left, Tatiana, get to work.
Or sticky notes also above the desk.
Oh.
You said that you have your phone remind you that every deadline or something like that.
Okay. Wow, those are good ideas. I'm so glad to know you read my email. How about this table? Organization ideas? Anything that hasn't been said already?
Yeah, so kind of pace yourself. The first thing, both Iman and I look at how many pages did we get to plan how many hours we can, how many hours it takes. And so maybe divided by the number of days if you need to pace yourself.
On average, how much time per page?
Yeah.
Is that some for us?
What do you spend?
I don't know, because you get these kind of formats and a lot of times everything is correct. So you browse through really quickly. So the most I've spent probably is 4 hours in one thing.
4 hours an assignment.
On one, like the general election, was 4 hours.
How many pages was that?
So your email you got last week, I started adding how many pages in English it is. So it'll say 20 pages, 14 pages. And like Paulina has 5 different files coming next week, but she shouldn't have a heart attack. Chloe's only getting 1 because she's German. But I put the page numbers, and it's equivalent to someone else who got more or less. More, or this. It's equivalent to other people in your language group. Katerina might have one file with 20 pages and you might have 5 files with 16 pages. It's about the same. Okay. So dividing up your pages in time so you pace yourself. Are there ideas at this table that haven't been repeated? Okay, Tamara, and Fleur, you're the veterans ideas you shared over here.
My priority.
Make it a priority. Thank you. What does that mean to you? Like, what are you giving up?
Because I have like sleep and projects going on.
Give up sleep.
And Netflix.
Netflix.
Just my priority.
You know, and I will say, Loie said projects, if you're a professional translator and you need money to live, it's okay. It's okay. But just give us plenty of notice. Don't tell us on the day it's due, I had another job that was paying, I couldn't do this. Let us know as soon as possible because we will adjust on our end, okay? And your bylaws say you can miss one election a year. You know, that's if something's really problematic, you know. But yeah, just keep us informed. Don't wait too long.
I want to add something to the calendar. Kelly is very good at sending the calendar of reviews in advance.
Yeah.
So whenever you get this email, make sure that you mark your calendar that you will be that you will be expecting something during several days. And if something else comes up to the way possible, you can probably
Adjust.
time and adjust.
Thank you. Yes. That's what we do. That's why.
And one more thing to check email, also check if you got not just email with the assignment, but download the files to make sure that you have the correct files.
Yeah.
And if something is wrong, then you can contact Kelly as soon as possible.
Yes, that's excellent. Because yeah, we do make mistakes sometimes. And again, we're not going to work on Saturday or Sunday checking to see if you got the right file. Because we made a mistake.
Especially when we add back earnings to 2025. I got it covered for 2025.
Let's go to advice. Any general advice that you wish you'd known? Yeah, Catalina.
I guess what I wanted to say is, if you're feeling overwhelmed, just remind yourself why you're here. I took note of everyone's motivations of why we're here, and I can pass them after, but I think it's beautiful work that we're doing, and it's bigger than ourselves, and it means a lot for our own communities. You'll never get to a point, I hope, because Kelly and Elise are great supporting, and we have a whole team also supporting you, but for me, just reminding myself that this is something bigger than myself helps a lot.
That's really good advice. Fleur.
I learned it the hard way. Pace yourself. Really do not try to do it all in one day. I say this. Can you end up about 12 in the morning? Crying. Oh. No crying. There's no crying. Yeah, I'm just saying pace yourself.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Plus, I think it's good when you're doing a translation, you do it. Come back a few hours later or another day later and read it again. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to find mistakes or, you're going to want to change this word or that word. So that's why don't do it all at once. Do a little, come back, and then read it again.
That's really good. Brain fresh. Get it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm one who tends to prefer to just sit down and do it all at once. But I do find that if I spend too long on it, then I start getting in a crappy mood, and my comments become less helpful.
You idiot! Are you even a native speaker?
I also, because I heard I gotta say, when you're doing a translation, I guess I separate my role differently. I'm a reviewer. So in that sense, I want to think that the translator person was doing the best job they could and was very intentional, knowing that perhaps they don't live here and so they don't have a lived experience of elections in Oregon as we do, knowing that, yeah, maybe they're not familiar with what we know, but we're reviewing, so technically you're just reading through those boxes and does, like, the bigger picture is, does it translate to the original meaning of the source language? Does it read the same or is not? And with that, I think, rather than trying to retranslate what they, you know what I mean? Like, that way, keep your clarity on what our role is as a reviewer.
That's excellent. I really appreciate that. It's a misunderstanding at the beginning sometimes, and it's not going to be productive for you to retranslate things that are pretty darn good. Maybe they're not exactly the same as you would use it, but to focus, if you watch the recording of Chantal's training last February, how to focus. Because it's easy to go down the rabbit holes and get into perfectionism.
Also, ask another colleague.
Use your colleagues. Nice.
And maybe not even someone, you know, but just
In your
someone that-
network.
Someone that you trust that is the translator or interpreter. Get a different, if you're stuck.
Yeah, get a different perspective. Tamara?
Well, sometimes remind yourself that good is good enough. Of course, many of us are perfectionists, but if you have 40 pages and you have a couple hours, maybe good is good enough. If it's accurate and culturally relevant.
Yes.
With this caveat.
Yes. I see a lot of nodding heads. Okay, and use it as an opportunity to improve our resources, our glossaries and things. We can do that.
And I'm sorry, we're out of time, so if we want to continue, we want to grab some food or somehow do we want to shorten our lunchtime or?
We just
There
get
will
one more comment from Lois, and then
I think in terms of motivation, the night before the next day, I like to make a short list of high priorities.
Oh, nice.
And making that list, be aware that it's always going to take you longer than you automatically think. Even when I was a hippie jeweler, I would say, oh yes, and by 12 noon I'll make 12 pairs of earrings, blah, blah. You'd never achieve it.
All right, have a vision for the next day. That's so nice. Okay.
There will be markers up at the front if during lunch you want to add something to the wall. So feel free to do so.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's talk about what you came up with for the glossary and for the style guide.
Yeah, let's hear from some conversation. Again, this is not the be all end all, this is not the decision. The translators haven't even been consulted yet, but just taking advantage of being together in person is something special. So it's good if we discuss it. How about the language neutral group? We have French, Tagalog, German, and Ukrainian solos flyers. So they had a few questions to talk about that have been raised about the style guide. And would you like to share if you reached any conclusions? Those would be priority, and then other things that we maybe discuss that we can keep continuing to talk about. Any conclusions that you'd like to advise the Secretary of State on this time, or it requires more thought?
In terms of the transliteration.
Yeah, that's one question. Did you guys address that?
Best practice that we
Transliteration.
mentioned with transliteration is to, like in Tagalog, sometimes the literal translation of a word is a deep, thorny word that nobody uses anymore. And so in many cases, they'll just pass on the English word. I think the best practice, if the transliteration starts to become thorny like that, is to go ahead and transliterate it, but then also include the English title in parentheses.
Okay, so currently our style guide says avoid transliteration whenever possible. And then we say Marshallese and Tagalog has a lot of Spanish and English words, so sometimes they're not. But can someone, I should have started this way, can someone tell us what transliteration is? Are we all talking about the same thing?
Literal translation.
Literal translation?
Transliteration is like letter by letter, especially in names.
Yes. So it's using your script, your characters, to make the same sounds, to say, is that right?
Right.
So superintendent is the example, and then Ukrainian transliteration superintendent.
I think transliteration is mostly about translating names correctly.
Okay.
Titles still can be translated into the target language.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything else to add about what transliteration is?
It's a conveying of the phonetic of the words to the language language target of another language.
Forgive me that I misunderstood transliteration. It doesn't apply to Tagalog because Tagalog uses the same characters as English.
Yeah, and that's why I triggered onto that, because I also know about like loan words when they're using the other language word without translating. So, okay. So our guidance right now says avoid it. How do you feel about that? Is it a case by case?
In Ukrainian, there are rules for transliteration.
Oh, really?
In the updated rules of spelling, 2019.
Oh.
So there are some sounds that, or phonetic sounds that are not, there is no equivalent in Ukrainian, but there are ways to convey them to target language.
Okay. Can I see a show of hands? Are you familiar with rules, language authority rules about transliteration in other languages besides Ukrainian? Okay, that's super interesting. Ukrainian, 2019.
Portland is translated, or used to be translated with an E or yeah, Portland. According to the newer rules of 2019, it's Portland. So A sound or A sound is conveyed.
Change.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's super confusing. Okay. Was there anything that you reached a definitive advice on? I know you talked about a lot of things.
I think it's language by language.
I guess professional titles might be different. I mean, if you wrote here, Dr. So-and-so prescribed XYZ, it's just plain doctor, where if you were listing a title in German and his name was Dr. somebody, you might add Dr. Med, so that people would know that he's not a PhD who's totally unable to
administer emergency care.
Yeah, there you
But
go.
that's not a big contention, I've seen friends, and in Italian, the word doctor is only for medical, so when.
Yeah.
I see when
Not
they, in the
PhD.
US, we use it for, like, my students are calling me doctor, even though, but for me, the French person, you can't call me that.
Yeah,
In French, it's only for medical professionals.
Okay, Dr. Okay, so the style guide, it's very hard to generalize, but we try to do it as much as we can to keep people on track. So you had a good discussion, thank you. How about the people working on glossaries and questions that have been raised about other translations? You want to share anything? Recommendations for words in the glossary, keeping words out?
Well, all these words are good to be added to the glossaries. I think some of them came up in the text that we reviewed and or potentially can come up. Also, it would be great to expand the glossary to include those terms. And I wanted to follow up on something that this table was working, the style guide. We talked about the how in Russian it's recommended to write time. Now it's recommended to use 24-hour. We noticed that fewer people understand this time frame, and it would be better to switch to 12-hour time.
So you're saying to be culturally appropriate to Russian speakers in Oregon, it's better to use the 12-hour standard, not 24-hour, which is currently in our guide.
Yeah, younger people do not understand 24-hour frame, and older people, they're learning American culture, and here it's mostly on 12-hour basis.
Yes.
So we recommend to change this guidance on the.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you I'm glad you guys were together. Someone told me too, I called it military time, and someone said, don't call it that. I was like, okay.
In medical field, they use
24-hour. Yeah, be very precise. Okay, thank you, Russian table. How about the Spanish table? Any things, learnings or things you noticed that you wanted to share?
Came to agreements on everything. Well, do we have to give you the agreements that we came?
No, just talk about the process or something you'd like us all to consider, or just kind of sharing.
Okay, say one that we use kind of like to agree, because you have representatives here from Spain, Colombia, Guatemala, and Peru. So we can.
And no Mexico.
No Mexico right now, yeah. Which is the largely spoken language in America right now, right? So we all kind of like had our discussion on how do we say it, and then let's look for how do they say it in Mexico. So we looked it up, and then kind of like, oh yeah, okay, let's go with that one. So it was more like a consensus based on majority group kind of thing.
Okay. So when you have something to discuss, you're leaning towards the largest group of users.
After looking at all the definitions and determining nuance as well between terms that were almost synonyms but weren't. So divulgación versus difusión, consensus. It was a really enriching conversation.
Yeah, I think it was a common ground.
Yeah.
You know, because it is the largest population. It is the largest spoken. And what it means in my country doesn't mean in Spain or Colombia. So we kind of agreed on that, and that was
think about your
valuable. Yeah.
Remind me, Aida, what's your
Guatemala.
Guatemala.
In Central America, Europe, and South America.
And no North. Okay, we need Magda and the Colombians so they can win. It's planned that way.
We need somebody from that speaks good Spanish.
Oh. we're just we're at time, but I just want to carefully make sure if you have something you'd like to share from this experience. Thank you for joining again, Chi. Different background. Wow, you are sticking with it. Chinese table and Vietnamese table, any large observations? All new people here, by the way.
Just the word vote is hard to translate.
Exclamation mark.
Because there's too much context in the word.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the Secretary of State's longtime slogan. Does it mean get out there and vote? Let's vote. You should vote. You have to vote. It's just vote. And so we've had some discussion in the Chinese on that. Interesting. Okay, tell us if we need to change the pens. Thank you. Okay, and Vietnamese group, quickly. Anything you'd like to share?
I'm just gonna piggyback on what David said earlier about the misinformation. Yeah, there's some work in Vietnamese that we learned.
So it would sound blunt. So not as smooth. So are you saying you agree with avoiding it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think what I heard over here is there may be cases where it, and even rules in some cultures about it. Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you. We'll start it. Okay. Thank you so much. I hope this is valuable.
Yeah.
Now, and also get to go to.
Well, and just keep in mind that glossary and standardized are going to go back to these two resources every year. So as you for some conversation, you think or something related to standardized that should be reflected, keep your source or let them know, and at our annual meeting we can go over these suggested changes and improve these resources that are used not just by us, but also by other entities and by the public. So remember, these are continuous projects, and there's always room for perfection. So if you find something that you contribute to these two resources, do not hesitate to do so.
Yeah.
And
my advice would be send it, when you think of it, just send an email. Because I just collect them in the list and then bring it back to you later.
Yeah, you can certainly see that Kelly is collecting all of these, then they land on this piece of paper which we have to review during our meeting. Okay, and the last 10 minutes or so, let's devote to community time. We were trying to make this time for just free discussion, open microphone type of thing at every meeting, but very often our meetings are so packed with very important things that we need to work on, and we do not always have time for that. Now we do have a little bit over 10 minutes, so whatever is on your heart, on your mind, and whatever you want to share with the larger group, please go ahead. It can be anything, like your takeaway from today's meeting, or your takeaway from the 2 years of your service on the council, or
areas to improve.
Yeah, ways to improve, or maybe some new projects. So we've worked on developing this community outreach toolkit. Maybe you have some other ideas about what we jointly can do to make our work even more impactful. So anything that comes up to your mind, that's the time to talk about that, please. Anybody?
We had a question where the ballot packet sleeve thing is not in our folder. And so when that happened, could you describe, have you used description for what that is? Or did you create your own words?
I don't know what they did with Chinese. It's actually in the glossary. The privacy sleeve is called. So maybe you could check it online. I don't know what they did.
Secret sleeve.
Oh, it's called the secrecy sleeve?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they did in Chinese. But that's where you get to come in, and I'll come with, a translator will come with something and you can say, that doesn't work for us.
It will be a new ologies, you make your own word, and it becomes multiple.
Become an influencer.
So it's the base of the glossary thing in the voters pamphlet for people to reference?
Yes, not to the glossary, to the voters pamphlet. In the voters pamphlet, the second page of voters pamphlets has translation that says these pamphlets are available online. The glossary is on our webpage.
It would be helpful to have the glossary. When people need to look up something, like what exactly do you need? They might need additional explanation of that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
As an education tool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, if we're thinking pie in the sky, I was joking over at the Spanish table that we need a partnership with Webster where we can, add to their translating bank or whatever, but.
You could do Wikipedia, it's open.
I know. But we just create our own database, which is what the translators are doing, but.
Yeah, you guys started this, so this is awesome.
Yeah, because it can be online, but they can see
Great idea.
an explanation also.
Yes. And we're trying to get counties to use the glossary too, if they're working on, and share our glossary. To make it consistent.
So any more questions or thoughts or feelings or suggestions? How often do we meet?
How often do we meet? We meet in person once a year. It's been in the summer, could be a different time of year. And then we meet as needed for business meetings. The first year we met, 4 or 5 times. maybe
Yes, because
6.
we were establishing the.
We were writing the bylaws and,
Right.
yeah, so I think we're gonna be meeting 2 or 3 times a year. That's what I budgeted for.
And of course, there's a lot of communication via email, and please pay attention to the subject line. If it's action needed, make sure that your response is needed for this. So read the email and provide your response.
Yeah, it's mostly a virtual group.
Anything else?
I have one.
Oh, I
Go ahead.
have one too, but go for it.
Yeah, get all plugs. No,
I know. I mean, mine was a little off topic. I just wanted to, if yours is related more to, mine was to add to my introduction. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right, is this okay tomorrow? Okay, mine is, did anyone find the one that I really don't want you to do in here? First one answers gets a free bouquet of flowers.
Oh.
Did you look at the styles of reviews?
I like doing it.
No, number 6. What is that one?
Method 6.
Method 6. Oh, that's it. You win. Woohoo! Don't send me an email of 50 page, you reviewed a 20-page pamphlet and say, it looks great, there's one word, it's on no page. Please use the review form.
It's there for your convenience.
Yes. So you get to choose the pink one or the orange one. And also I wanted to check one thing. So we added boxes to make this. We didn't used to have boxes, so we checked the category. I've had feedback that the accept box is not necessary, and it's just a time sucker. You wouldn't have a feeling about that? If it's not, if we don't check it, does that mean it's good?
I mean, I use it mostly to keep my place for when I'm coming back.
Okay, so it's useful to you.
Yeah.
I think it's good to have it.
Okay, there's one thing that came up and I wouldn't.
I think, there's something intentional about clicking the box and being like, yes, that's right, as opposed to I just skimmed this and I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's method 6.
It's okay, but what?
But it can, it needs further work.
Like it'll pass, but it could be better. Okay, I'll think about that.
Pass, but not quite.
Pass could be, but could be better. Yeah.
It's the elementary school report card, satisfactory.
Yes.
But not, okay, that's all I had. Melissa?
Yeah, absolutely. In joining and accepting my position, my title is formally program analyst and operations coordinator. So I just wanted to share that with you and celebrate you with you all. Also, I just wanted to share that my background, I come with a wealth of project management and program management experience. In previous positions, I worked at Portland State University and ran their programs and initiatives across Washington, Idaho, Oregon, and some parts of California. So I'm very used to statewide initiatives and really enjoy working at that level. I also graduated with a minor in Spanish and studied abroad in Oaxaca. And I identify as biracial, Japanese and Caucasian. So multilingual, multicultural is no stranger to me. Very passionate and really enjoy my time at the Spanish table, just being a fly on the wall. And I'm excited to also get a certification in change management in this role. And increase the capacity and the efficiency of this program in working with Kelly. So that's me.
You're very active with the diverse group.
Yes.
And so, and a bit of fun more.